Welcome back everyone, this is the Atomix Remake Part 2. And in this video we do two things. The first thing we do is we fix the serialization. I initially have an idea about making my own serializer, but I find a better one on the web and we end up using that and it works out perfectly. Spoiler. And then the second part is I create a prefab that is going to represent the shapes. In the original game and also in the KP Atomix Remake, they use PNG files. We're not using PNG files here, we're going to use Unity, and so I create a prefab that takes in the same data used in the earlier incarnations of this game, and I build the prefab from that, and that's as far as we get in this video. But yeah, it all starts after the fade. Alright, so here's the problem, is these atoms here, they don't work for me. They cause problems because I can't serialize them into a JSON object. What I need to do is I need to have the atoms as separate, or as basically a combined. I need to have them as fields. So instead of having atoms like this, I think what we need to do is we need to have atoms as an array instead of that, and instead of, let's just call this atoms X, and instead of that we have these as ID is that, and then shape is that. I think that's what we need to have instead. So we need to do some kind of translation. Now there is actually, if I go to here, I think it's this one here. Yeah, I did some research. So there is this thing, there's a full serializer here which will actually get me the dictionary. I might try this, and if this works then that's good, but it means I've got another library in here. Do I need another library in here? Maybe. Or what I can do is I can actually write a serializer, and that's what I'm going to do in this video. Is I'm going to write a serializer, because I think that might actually be the best way forward, because because then we can actually add other things to it as well. Not that matters, to be honest. Well, let's try it both ways. Let's do it this way, and then let's do it with the serializer first, and then see if that fixes the problem. And if it does, all well and good, and if it doesn't, then we can write our parser. Installation: import the source folder into your Unity project. You're good to go. You also see the DLL based import at the bottom of this document. So let's download the zip file, and then show in folder. Okay, let me go to there, assets, full serializer source. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is get rid of this, go to project, and then we get scripts, and then I'm going to create, and then I'll call this full serializer. Double click that, and then I'm basically going to select, I'm going to go to here and then show in Explorer. That there, and then this is the zip file that I just downloaded, so I'm going to grab everything in here and I am just going to drag and drop it into here, and if this blows up and doesn't work, then we can just get rid of full serialize, and if it does work, then all good to go. Compiling. Okay, so we got a couple of warnings. Do we have any more warnings? Tangent mode is obsolete. Okay, but we can maybe fix these things. I mean, these are kind of minor issues. what is this for? Well, I guess we don't need any tangent modes. I'm just going to get rid of it. We're not going to use it anyway. Watches use tangent modes. Okay, so that's tangent mode again, so we don't need that. Okay, and then the last one will be the same thing as well. Okay, that's just a Unity error. Alright, so if we go to our, where's our project? That's full serializer scripts. Nope, that's one I wanted. Scripts, Atomix, JSON, and then that's the file loader in here. So we use the JSON utility for this. We're going to use something else for this. We are going to use this one here. So the usage is this. Blah, 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 blah. Need a new serializer. And then you want to serialize that and then deserialize that. Okay, so let's just copy and paste this text here. So I'm going to copy that there. And then up here, I'm just going to pop it down in there. And then I'm going to add that there. And this is going to be system. Using system, okay. Blah, 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 blah. Deserialize type. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the fact you got to pass in the type, but that's okay. So to do this, we need to pass in deserialized type. So what I'm going to do is let's get it working first, and then we can start tweaking these values here. All right. So instead of level data equals that, what we're going to say is deserialize type of Atomix file, and then JSON, and that's going to be as Atomix file. Now this is very kind of old school way of doing things, this deserialize with types and things. So we're going to change that. We're going to make it type safe, or at least we're going to use types. I mean, everything's type safe. It's C#. I don't know if I said that. Sorry. Alright, so let's get this working. So we do that, and then we press F10, and then level data is that, levels is that, and then atoms is, boom, a dictionary. There we go. So that's it. We don't need to do anything else. Oh, that's a message. Let me just turn that off. So there you go. That's it. That's easily fixed. Thank you very much. Who wrote this? This is Jacob Default. He wrote Full Serializer. Fantastic stuff. Does exactly what it says in the tin. Yeah, that's perfect. So I don't know if you can see that there, but that's exactly what I was looking for. Yeah, string 2, values 1 and 9. Yeah, that. If we go to level 0, atoms, string 2, 1 and G. Yep, and that is 3 and CG. Yep, and that is gonna be 1 and C. I don't know why they chose to do that particular format, but that I'm just sticking with it because that's the one that they used inside that game there. But that's that done. So let's fix this here. So instead of having type, what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose T, and that's going to be type of T, and this is going to be T. So now we're making this typed. We're giving it a template, a class template. Or actually, we're using, technically in C# we're using generics, not not type, what am I looking for? We're using generics. So we pass in the type using these angle brackets, and then we use type of t in here to do that, which means that we can now do deserialize, and then we can completely ignore the JSON, and we can completely ignore this. And is it going to pick that up? Is it? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's not liking that at all. The type arguments for method. What? What? Oh, that's why. Oh, because I didn't do it right. I should have put T there. So now, this will go away, and I can actually get rid of this as well, because it's putting it into this variable and syntactic sugar and all that kind of stuff. What? Oh, fine. Okay, maybe I was wrong there. So yeah, deserialized, then Atomix file that's good. And then really we kind of want this as like as an object by itself. We don't want to keep creating this serializer. So what I suggest we do is we create an instance of it, and then we just keep it around while we need it. So this is trying to serialize that, compress that in there. Do we even need to know? Like, it doesn't make any sense, the fact we need to know that type. Okay. So we're probably going to use this in other places. So let's create our own serializer wrapper thing. So inside Atomix JSON, let's create our JSON serialization. Not to be confused with JSON Statham. Sorry, that was a terrible joke. Okay, JSON serialization. And then we want to get rid of these. And we want to do that. And we want to do that. And we want to do that. And that is everything. Okay, so now instead of doing that, we do JSON serialization dot deserialize. So now we can use this any which way we want, and we don't need to have full serializer everywhere. We can just have that one thing. So if we do end up, there's a thing in the documentation about changing, what does it say? It's right down the bottom here. Let me just where did I put that? Yeah, so it says, feel free to use full serializer in your own asset store package. If you do so, please rename the full serializer namespace to something like mypackage.fullserializer, so there's going to be no conflict. So yeah, if we do have to rename it, we just have to rename it in one place, and then we're good to go. So yeah, I think that's everything. So now we should be able to load the level, and everything should be fine. Let's make sure that's okay. Okay. All right, perfect. So I think the next thing we're going to do in this video is get rid of these walls. which means we're going to have to change a way that we do we deserialize it. We're going to have to change some of the levels.
Wrong, sir.
Alright, so I just realized that in the remake, so I'm just going to bring this up just now, this one here, you actually just click here and it shows the arrows. I think we could do just something similar to that. We don't need to worry about the other collision detection there, so we can just let it run out. However, what we do need to do though is inside here, this is the description of the different graphics that get used. So here's the bonds and everything here, and that ties in with this here. So for example, that's a later level, this one here, so we have our 3 atoms, so we have 1, 3 and 1, so our 3 atoms are 1, 3, 1, and if you look at the code here, 1, 3 and 1 is hydrogen, and 3 is atom O for oxygen. So 1, 3, 1 is 1 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, 1 hydrogen, and that's the winning condition is H2O, because it's H2O there. And you notice it's got C, Cg and G, and that refers to, if I go down here, bond type. So C is bond right, G is bond left. So you got C, Cg and G. So we need to write a factory for those, because that's the next thing that we need to do. So I'm going to create a sort of a prefab for these. So these basic ones here are just, they're like cubes, and they have letters on them. So I'm just going to build cubes with letters on them, and then I'm going to have the various bonds. Now I'm going to cheat just now. I'm just going to have left and right bonds for just now, and then I will add more bonds as we need them. But yeah, right now we just need oxygen and hydrogen, so we'll do that just now. The easiest way to create this is actually just to create a new scene, and then I'm going to create a new empty prefab, an empty object, and this is going to be an atom, and we're going to put it to 0, 0, 0. And then we're going to press F to zoom in on it. So there's nothing there right now, but we're going to add a cube. So I'm going to add a 3D object, which is a cube. And so cube is perfectly centered at that particular location. But I'm going to scale it halfway down on the Y. To be honest, probably don't need to do that. Actually, I probably don't need to do that, but I am going to scale it, the cube itself, 0.75. And the reason why is because we need to give it some, so if I go back to here, you'll see that the bonds are kind of sticking out. So we have 2 cubes there. We've got like a square one that's offset from that. So I'm going to do that one there, and then the other one sits on top of it. So I need another cube. And then this first cube, so this bottom cube here is just going to be called white no use. So I'm just going to call it no use because we're not using it. And then this top one here, we're going to rotate it 45 degrees on the y-axis. So now it's kind of slightly offset, so you can see that there. And I'm going to raise it slightly as well, because I want it to not there you go. Just try and keep these units as kind of regimented as possible. And so you can see that this is, if I bloop, there. Oh, good. It's there. Okay. So you can see that this is now starting to take shape and looks kind of similar to that. I'm going to add some art if we don't already have that in here. So we've got green. So if I add that to, let's call this background color. And then we drag and drop that over to there, and so you can see that we've now got our background color there. And now we need to add a bit of text so that we can see what's going on. So I'm going to add 3D object, and hopefully it says 3D text. And I've got a funny feeling we're probably going to have to rotate that. And I'm going to rotate that on there, 90 degrees, like that. And you can see that sample text is there. And instead of sample text, we'll call that H. Where is H? Okay, H is over there. And so I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. Right, that. And the text for this is going to be much smaller. Probably about there. And I'll make sure that this is centered on here so that we don't, that no matter what we put in here, it's always going to be, oops, text. Oh, it's kind of difficult to see with this. It's not so great, is it? Why is that offset? Okay. Not really. 0.1 we'll make that. Whoa. Whoa, I'm upside down. Freaky. Okay, let me make that a little bit higher. Alright. Okay. So what do we at? 0. Let's just make it 0.8. 5. Okay. We can move this light as well. We don't need that light. Alright. Where are we? Let's go for the Y. Okay, so that is that there. Boom, I think we have it. Okay, cool. So there's our H there, and of course it's got to be black as well. So we'll make that black, like that. And then that's our basic shape there. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of these things here. So so this is going to be atom name. I'll just call it atom name. It's fine. And then I'm going to add what else do we have? We need to have our north, south, east, and west. Our left, right, up, down. So I'm going to create a 3D object, and this is going to be a cylinder. And our cylinder is going to be rotated on the z-axis, and that's going to be rotated 90. And we obviously don't want it that big, so we're going to scale it 0.25, 0.25. 0.25. Okay, and then that's going to stick out here. So when we look at it from above, you can see that it sticks out a little bit. And then let's make that 0.5. Okay, so you get the idea. I'm going to go and create those, and then we'll come back after I've created these, and then we'll show you what's going to happen next. So now that we have this prefab. We're now going to create, well, we actually don't have the prefab just yet. We're going to create a prefab in just a sec. But once we create the prefab, we're going to add a script to it, or we're going to add a script to it and then create the prefab. Either way, we need a script, and that script is going to control what bonds are shown, the text in here, and then the color. So I've got two colors here, green and red, and then we're going to choose which ones we're going to show based on the values that get passed in. So we're going to start that now. Alright, so let's go down to scripts and go to game. Oh, and this is all the other stuff here. Let's go to Atomix. Create folder, and then we'll call this game board, or well, let's just call it game. And then inside here, we're going to create another script, and we're just going to call this Atom, because that's what it's going to control. And what do we need to control? We need to have, and again, I'm just going to do this in a very, very basic format. This is maybe not be the best way to do it, but this is what I'm thinking anyway. So do public game object, left join, right join, top join. So that's going to be right, bottom, and top join, red, public material, green. What else do we need to do? Oh yeah, public TM Pro text, mesh Pro text, and then we need to do public void set up shape. Now I don't know what's going to go into setup shape just now, but we need it. So what do we have over here? That's not the right one. It's this one here. So we need to pass in one. We need to pass in a number, which is going to correspond to a particular shape, and then we're going to need to tell it whether it's going to be C, CG, or G. So these are the bonds that we have here. So this is bond left, bond blah 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 blah. Okay, so we need to map these two particular things. So right now we have C and CG. Okay, so what if we did wide awake left join dot set active false, right join top join bottom join. Okay, and then we do text.text equals that. So as soon as it becomes activated, it's we don't use it until we set it there. So set up shape, and it's going to be atom connections. And then I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to say, well, it's not really, I keep saying cheat. It's not cheat, it's just coding. Private dictionary action there, and then this is going to be what are we going to call this? Joints. Let's call it joints, and then we'll say joints equals new, that there, and then we'll say actually we could set them up here, and then this is going to be C and C and G. So right now we have C, and then that is going to be so what am I doing here? Okay, what I'm doing is I'm setting up a, oh, do I have to set this up as that? I think I do. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up a dictionary, and the dictionary is going to have a mapping between those letters. So these letters that are in wherever that code is. This one here, yes, this one here. So it's going to map these letters here, and instead of having bond blah 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 blah, it's actually going to do the right thing. So C is going to set bond right to be true, and G is going to set bond left to be true. So that's what I'm setting up here. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to say C is, actually, I completely forgot now, bond right. So I'm going to say C is right join dot set active true, and G is going to be left join dot set active true. And then I can tidy that up like that. So now I can do the same thing for atoms. So I can say private dictionary, dictionary string action atoms. And then I can have inside here, I can say atoms equals new dictionary blah 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 blah, and then inside here again I'm going to do exactly the same thing as we have here. So instead of having atom blah 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 blah, these are all PNG files. We don't have PNG files, we're going to use shapes. So instead of having that, I'm going to say change these to HC blah blah blah. So I only need H and O just now. So I'm going to say 1, and then that is going to set text.text equal hydrogen. Okay, and then 3 is going to set it to oxygen. So I'm going to copy that again, set that to O, and set that to 3. Okay. All right, so set shape, atom connections. So all I need to do now is I need to do atoms, atom, that. I know that looks weird, I'll get to it in a second. And then the other one is joints. This one's a little bit more complicated because that's going to be for each char in actually for int I equals 0, I less than connections dot length I plus plus connection equals connections I oh yeah, it doesn't like that, so let me just do that as to string and then I'm going to say, actually, do I need that? Can I just implicitly set that across? Yeah, I thought I could. No, I can't. Damn it. C#. Okay, so now I have my connection there. Now what I want to do is I want to then call that joint. So I want to say joints connection bloop, like that. Okay, and that sets everything up. Now, what is this? What is this line doing? And this is the same similar line here. Well, up here we're setting up this dictionary of strings and actions. So a dictionary is a key value pair. You have a key, like that's a way to access the data, and then you have the value, which is the data you want to access. And you can have like a telephone number. So for example, you could look up Sloan in the telephone dictionary, you'd get my telephone number like 555-1234. That's how you would look up my number in a telephone book. And so with a dictionary or a hash or whatever you want to call it, you have a particular value and that's your key, and that unlocks the data, and that's the key value relationship there. So in this case here, we have these keys, which are strings that represent either the item kind or the bond kind. And we set them to be actions. In other words, a task to perform. So a task to perform is just a void statement. So it's just like doing console.println.writeLine something. Except we don't need anything else. So we don't need to pass in any parameters. So what we're saying here is perform this action, and this action is going to set the text to H when we get in a 1. So when we get in our atoms, that's what that's going to do, is set it up there. But because we also need to set the material, we also need to do multiple lines here. So this is where it gets a bit complicated, because we actually need to say where we got public game object cube. So inside here, where are we? So hydrogen is green, oxygen is red. Okay, so hydrogen is green, so we say cube dot material renderer equals green. And then, oops, we'll fix that in just a sec because that looks awful. And then this one here, we're going to say cube dot get component renderer dot material equals red. And then this one needs that in there. Why is that not tidied up? Well, that's just awful. Well, hopefully this will be a little bit easier to understand. So put that in there. So I mean, you could do this in one line. You could pass in. You could just tell it what those values are. So what we could do is we could actually have, and this. Let's do that just now. We can have a. Let's copy these two lines here. So we're going to go boink like that, and then we're going to go down here. Now we're going to say private void set up atom string atom atom name, and then material, and we're going to say text equals that equals atom name, and then that equals material. Okay, so now instead of having those multiple lines, we can then just have that as one line that says set up atom at there. There you go. And now we're back to just that one line. And then we can do the same thing for our O. Red. And that's O. Okay. So that makes it just a little bit easier to read. Okay. So set up shape, and we don't need that. I don't know why that's there. because I probably typed it. That's why it's there. Okay, so we go back to Unity. Let's make sure everything's okay. Compile it. There are two candidate types. Okay, so I quite like using Trello because it keeps me honest. All right, so when we create our where am I going here? Yeah, when we create the map, we're going to use this atom. So I'm going to add atom to the script here, and then I'm just going to drag and drop these values across. So left bond, I've got it left join there. It doesn't matter. Right bond, bottom, top. And then we need the cube, which is the background color. And then we need red, which is our material. I think I created the red off camera, but it's essentially just a copy of the green material, but I've changed the albedo. And then the last one is the text, of course. So that would be atom name. Okay, so that's everything set there. Okay, now I'm going to go and copy that into the prefabs, and I just drag and drop, and boom, it creates the prefab. And you can see that we have a nice version of it there, which is good. So what we can also do as well is we can go to left bond, blah blah blah, all those bonds there, and we can set them to be off to start with, and then inside here we can get rid of that as well, because that'll tidy that up. We don't need that. And then the text as well, the atom name, we can get rid of the H in there as well, and we can get rid of that line too. And that's our prefab ready. Okay. We might come back to that prefab later on, because we need to know whether it's a playing piece as well. Well, actually, we can change that to play piece as well. So we can do yes, children objects. And we'll probably need to add a cube to it as well. So let's add box collider, which is going to fit exactly over 1, which is perfect. Okay. That is good. I think, yeah, that's good. Okay. Cool. Oh, except none of that appeared on there. Okay, let me just do that in here. So add component box collider, and then let's call that player piece. Yes. Okay, and then let's take all of these and then boonk, and then atom name is going to be, take that off there. Okay. All right. Okay. So now if we go back to our game, open recent scene game. So if we go over to our player pieces over here, I'm just going to drag out atom into here. And now what we need is we need some way to create that atom, and we're just going to, for now, just going to use the builder part, the map reader. So that is inside Atomix. Where is it? Where did I put that actually? File loader. Oh, is it in here? Whoops, that's not good. Okay. Okay, that's not so good. All right. So if it is not a dot, so if it's a dot, that means it's an empty space. That means it's just a like there's nothing in it. Otherwise, it's going to be a an atom. So I need to say else if row x is not equal to a full stop, then we need to figure out what it is. So the value at that point is going to be char, actually let's make it string, and then it's going to be atom equals row x, and then we need to figure out, oh yeah, I need to do toString, and then we need to figure out from the atoms where that is. So we need to figure out a couple of things. There's the numbered atom, the 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1, 3, and 1 here, and this is this part here. This part here is the shape of the atom, and this part here is used to determine the solution of the puzzle. So you see that molecule is 1, 2, 3. So that means that it has to be in a row 1, 2, 3. And if we go down to methane, then you see that the molecule is in this pattern here, which means it's in a cross pattern. So 2 at the top, 4 at the bottom, then 1, 3, 5 along the side there. And that corresponds to these values here, describing these shapes here. So the way they've done it is actually really elegant, and so I'm just going to keep using it because rather than having to change all these variables or change all the maps around, this makes it a lot easier for me. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do just now. So I need to figure out what the shape is based on that. So I'm going to go to level data, levels arena. So this is the current arena. So I'm going to say arena arena Y. Oh, that's the arena, isn't it? Sorry, that's got to be level data dot levels level index dot atoms, and then we got the key, which is the atom key, and then we have the 0th element, and we have the first element, because this is an array, which is a list. So that's going to be 0. So that is string atom type. Let's call that atoms. Nope. Let's just call it atom. Atom type equals that, and then string connections level data dot levels level index dot atoms atoms atom 1, and then we need to have public game object, and this is going to be atom prefab. We're going to say var go equals instantiate atom prefab go.transform.position equals new vector 3 x 0 minus y. We're not going to add the squares, but we do need to add the pieces. So to do add pieces, but we do need to set the value. So we need to do go.get component atom, set up shape, and then the shape is going to be the atom type, and then connections. Okay, now we need to set up a couple of things there, so I just want to make sure this is working, and then we can do that. Okay, so what do we have here? We have our atom. Let's move that to characters. And then we get the canvas, we get the main camera, and then we get board manager. And then we have our atom prefab. So we need our atom prefab to be dragged and dropped into there. And now we run it. And there we go. There we have our pieces, which is fantastic. Okay, and you can see that that's blocked because that's the way that the cursor works, because it blocks against the game piece. I think the H's and things are a little bit too big, but that's okay. We can work with these. This is good. So it's coming together. Okay. So the idea will be that when you click on, rather than using the cursor key, you can use that there. So which means that we can make it for a mobile phone or an iPad or Android tablet, whatever your poison is. And then this one here, I quite like the way that overlaps those there. We can then move these just by clicking on them, which is nice. But yeah, that's good. So we need to know what the pieces are. So we need to give it the tag as well. So let me also pass in the actual atom that it is as well. Okay, because I need to know the index of that, so I'm going to pass in atom separate to that, or at the same time as that. So if we go to this definition here, and I'm going to call this index ref, and then I'm going to say public string index ref, tooltip, this is the reference used to determine the win condition. I'm okay with it not hiding in inspector just now, so I'm going to say this dot, no, that's not it. This dot index ref equals index ref. Alright, so when we run this now, we should have that index reference there. So if I go to atom clone here, we have our index ref, which is 1, atom clone, which is 2, and then the other one should be 3. And there we go, 3. Okay, sorted. So now the next big thing is to click on it and display the arrows. And the arrows I'm going to go with are the ones that we used in the Lunar Lockout game. And it was good enough for that. It's good enough for this. So that's what we're going to use next. So I'm going to end the video just now because I think this has gone on far too long. I think this is probably a good place to stop it, to be honest. And we'll do the click in the next video and also get rid of the cursor. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm actually really enjoying this project, so thanks again for the suggestion there. If you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give it a thumbs down. But please let me know in the comments what you didn't like and how I could improve and maybe not be as rambly. If you got this far though, it would be great if you could like the video and share it on social media, because it really does help the channel out. And if you like what you see and you want time the reminders of when something new goes up, then hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and YouTube will let you know. But yes, thank you again for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye bye.